In this video, we're going to discuss a simple pendulum, which is an object with a bob with a long string. It's going to oscillate back and forth. We're going to talk about the period equations and how we use conservation of energy to analyze its simple harmonic motion behavior. So let's look at the first one of the simple harmonic motion kinds of objects you're going to see. It's called the pendulum. And we've done a little bit this in circular motion, like when we had objects swinging like this. But the pendulum specifically is an object that's swinging back and forth. And and one of the things that's key to talk about is that it's really only harmonic motion for small angles less than 15 degrees. Technically, if the angle is larger, like 30, 45, 60 degrees, and you swing it like that, it's not technically periodic. It is periodic, but it's not technically sinusoidal. So it doesn't actually meet the criteria for simple harmonic motion. Okay, so that's the thing. The other big equation, the two big equations we're going to talk about here is the period. The period is the time it takes to swing to go back 1/4 one time, right? Like one wave in the sinusoid, or the fact that it just swings back and forth. So the time it might swing, like if I have a pendulum here, we're talking about something that's going to swing there and swing back. And that time it takes is called the period. Now it only depends on L, which is the length of the string of the pendulum. And G, which is, near surface of Earth, is 9.8, but it's the gravitational field or acceleration due to gravity. The other thing we talk about is the frequency. Frequency is 1 over the period. And oops, I didn't spell the frequency right. Frequency is measured period is measured in seconds. Frequency is measured in 1 over seconds, or sometimes we call it cycles per second, or it's measured in hertz. These are all the same unit, actually. Okay, because the frequency is like the number of cycles per second, basically, is one of those ways. But hertz is another term you might see. If you've ever heard the term hertz, that's what it refers to. It's 1 over seconds is the units. These are all the same units. So if you see a question talk about it in hertz or cycles per second, it's just telling you the frequency, and that's 1 over the period. Okay. So just some important things to observe. The period actually only depends on the length of the string on this equation. See, it doesn't matter what the mass of this thing is. It actually doesn't even matter what angle you started at. It only depends on the length of the string, which is a little unusual because you might think like, oh, you swing it out further, it's going to take longer. But it turns out that's not the case. Or if you think like, oh, it's a heavier object, maybe it swings faster or something like that. Again, not the case in this scenario. It only depends on the length of the string and 9.8. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to build up some intuition. It actually doesn't matter how far you swing it out, and also, what the mass of the object is. So the way you want to think about this one is there's an exchange between at the highest point where it has no velocity is 0. So at the highest point here, it would have on its swing, it has no kinetic energy. Okay, it has the highest gravitational potential energy. And then it's converting that potential energy. As it swings down, it gains kinetic energy down here in exchange for losing some height, losing some gravitational potential energy. Okay? So that's the big idea, is that and then as you swing back up, you lose speed, lose kinetic energy, and gain gravitational potential energy up here. Because the speed is going to decrease as it's coming up, so it's losing kinetic energy, slower speeds. Eventually, the maximum height here, it reaches, the speed is 0, so it has no kinetic energy in up here. The point down here is called the equilibrium position. And it's the equilibrium position is where where it's kind of in the center spot, but it's also where like it has the maximum kinetic energy. Okay, whereas up here it has the maximum gravitational potential energy at the extreme points over there. Okay, and so that's the basic idea. when we're solving problems, we're going to be looking at the exchange of kinetic energy to gravitational potential energy and back and forth. And then the period of time is governed by this period equation. And that's pretty much all there is to a pendulum. So let's take a look at a few examples of how we calculate, how we use some of these equations and use some of these principles for a pendulum. So here's our first example. What is the length of a pendulum that has a period of 0.5 seconds on Earth? So this is just an application of this equation. T equals 2 pi L over G, root L over G. And you know that the period is 0.5 is 2 pi root L over 9.8. Right? So then you just solve for L. So we're going to divide by 2 pi. That will give me L over that, and then I'm going to square it, and then that would get rid of the square root, then I'm going to multiply by 9.8. Okay? And that is 0.062 meters. Okay? Example 2. What is the effect on the period of a pendulum if you double its length? Well, this is understanding the variable, okay? If I double L, okay, I multiply that by 2, the period is going to multiply by the square root of 2. So imagine I put a 2 in here. Okay, how would I get a 2 in here? Another way to think of it is if I put a 2 in here, let me put it in red. What do I have to do to the other side to balance it? Is I can make this guy pull out the square root of 2. He would be 2 pi root L over G times the square root of 2. So in order to match this side is the period would multiply by the square root of 2. So it would increase by square root of 2, which is 1.41 times longer. Okay. What is the effect on the period of the pendulum if you decrease its length by 5%? Decreasing its length by 5% is if I were to multiply it by 0.95. And what it would do is you would take the period and you would multiply it by the square root of 0.95. Okay? So, and the square root of 0.95 is 0.975. And so it would decrease by, 2.5%. Okay, because you would be multiplying it by a number less than 1. And so you could say it's decreased by 2.5% or it multiplies 0.975. Okay, so those are a couple examples where we study just how the period equation works. The period equation is not that complicated, okay, but that's generally how it works. Okay, let's look at one where we have a little bit more complicated of a scenario. So we have a pendulum that's constructed from a ball tied to a string of length L. The ball is moved to an angle theta naught and released from rest. The pendulum undergoes simple harmonic motion. So I am releasing this theta 0, length L, and I have a ball here, and it's going to go back and forth like this. That's what the pendulum's going to do. Determine the maximum speed of the ball. Remember, the maximum speed is down here at the equilibrium position. Okay? That's what we talk about. And this distance here is also L. This is the equilibrium position. So, and we always think about it as an exchange of energy. We're converting gravitational potential energy into kinetic energy. Okay? So you have to think here at this point at this top, the velocity is 0. Because remember, at the extreme points, the velocity is 0. But it has potential energy. And then down here, if you say this is h equals 0, this has no potential energy, but the kinetic energy equals 1/2 mv squared. So here we're going to do mgh equals 1/2 mv squared. That's the connection. And I want to figure out what v is. V is the square root of 2gh. Now, what is the h? The h is the vertical distance that the ball is above this point. I want to know what this h is. And if you haven't seen this before, we've done these some of the AP problems in the energy unit. I think covered some of these. But the simplest way to think about it is I'm going to make a triangle. where I know this side is L. This is a right triangle. So I know that this distance is L cosine theta 0. But I know the full distance from here to here is L because the length of the rope is L. So that means I can actually figure out what this distance from here to here is. It's the entire L minus L cosine, sorry, L not equals, L minus L cosine theta 0. Okay, and so that's going to be my H. That goes right into there. So the V is root 2G times L minus L cosine theta 0. Okay, like that. Okay. Determine how long it takes for the ball to reach the first equilibrium position. So one thing is it's a sinusoid curve. So that means the period is the time it takes to go from here to the end and then swing all the way back. So that's 2 pi root L over G. Okay? And they told us the L also now. Now, that means the time, it's sort of, in a sinusoid, the time it takes from there to there is half the period. Because it takes that time to swing there and the same amount of time to come back. And so that's, the time from there to there is half of the period. And so the time from there to there is actually 1/4 of the period. So it's 1/4 of the period, which is equal to 1/4 2 pi root L over G, which is pi over 2 root L over G. Now sketch a graph of the potential energy and kinetic energy as a function of position. Assume that ball has 0 gravitational potential energy at the equilibrium position. So if you were to look at this scenario, is you're going to have you're going to have no potential energy at the bottom, and you're going to have the most at the top here. So let's say this is, this is the max, X max, right? This is negative X max. He's going to have the maximum potential energy. And what happens is it actually looks like a part of a curve like this. This is what the curve looks like for the potential energy, right? And I'm just going to overlay on top of here. What we're talking about is like up here at the endpoints, at the X max position, we have the most potential energy. And right at here at 0, we have the least potential energy. Now we know the total energy is constant. This is the total energy. So the kinetic energy actually is 0 at the endpoints and it has a maximum right here. So this is what the kinetic energy curve is going to look like. Okay, so that's a very natural thing. It's like the sum of these two curves will be this straight line because the total energy should remain constant the whole time. Okay. If you found this video helpful, come check out our school community. It's got an amazing bunch of features. It's got extra videos, corrected videos, better than the ones that I have errors on YouTube. It's got multiple choice free response questions. I hold live Q&A sessions and go through more problems and I answer students' questions, help with schoolwork, all kinds of things. If you want to check it out, look in the description below or check out the website and find us in the school community. You get a 7-day free trial to give it a shot, just to check it out, see what it's like, come join some calls, and honestly, come learn AP Physics 1 even faster with us.